Hey everybody, welcome to Easy Tarot Lessons. This is Squirrel. I've got Sally and Mandy with me. I almost said Sharon and Mandy with me. Wow, I'm here
That's so funny.
twice. Lucky you.
Yeah.
No. And we are doing the King of Wands today. Mandy, you want to start us off on what he says to you?
Yeah. Well, he's very he's a king. He's very in control. There's no with being the king of wands, he's he's very, very confident. He's very self-assured. He's very charismatic, very vibrant. I'm sure he has a lot of kind of like followers. I see him as a little bit of a kind of almost like he could be a bit of a rock star. I think he's quite a success in his field. Um, I would imagine he's sort of very physically fit, so he could be some sort of sportsman. That would kind of work for me. Um, but I think he's a big personality. I think his strength is his rather than kind of rather than his kind of like brains or his sort of financial expertise. It's more his charisma, his personality. He can attract people to him because I think he's a very bright shining light. um it's very, very strong.
Yeah.
um yeah, very strong. I think he glows the brightest of them all, and yeah, and everybody will just orbit around him. He is sort of virtually the sun. I know we have the sun in the major arcana, but yeah, he's right up there at the top, and
Mhm.
intends to stay.
Sally, what do you see with him?
Yeah, kind of the same things. Very aggressive, the way his cloak is kicked back and his hand is there. He kind of reminds me of a gunslinger.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he's he's ready to draw, ready to take action. Uh, and then I'm looking at him, and I don't know why I'm thinking this today, and it's just today. I've never thought this before, but I'm looking at him and his head covered. I wonder if he's bald. I mean, you don't see any hair,
Oh,
which just says to me, all you guys out there without a lot of hair, to me, it's a strong masculine. It's a testosterone thing. That's the
oh
reason
yeah,
you guys don't have all that hair up there. You're just so strong and manly. So he's a man's man.
yeah,
And that's what I get from him. He's just, he's a man's man. He's the coach, he's the guy that's going to be out there telling the kids to bat harder, run faster, do more push-ups. He's just he would be the one to get you motivated.
yes, oh
Yeah.
definitely,
Because even though he's sitting on a throne like all the rest of them, you can just tell he's right about to jump up and either start cheering or punching
Right.
or doing something. And yeah, he's like on it.
Yeah, there's no
yeah.
armrests on that chair. He's not there to sit back lazy, just, watching the world go by. It's a place that he probably sits when somebody tells him to sit for a minute and then he's up again active.
Yeah.
I
You
don't see
you
him
would you
sitting there
wouldn't
long.
you wouldn't want to argue with him or mess with him, would
Oh
you?
gosh, no.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Sometimes I think this personality comes across as too strong. Maybe not somebody I would want to be around for a long period of time because I would find it too much for me because there's a lot of personality there sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but if I needed motivation to get something done, that's the guy I'd want to do it.
yeah, definitely. I totally agree.
Now, I'm looking at this little lizard. I love this lizard, and I'm
Yeah.
always
Mm.
wondering, is that lizard goading him on, or is that lizard trying to give him guidance? Like, what are those people called that advise the advisors? Is it his advisor, or is it like just feeding him bullshit to get him all riled up? And I love the lizard, and it's like the wands are the only two suit cards or court cards, as you were, that have an actual creature in them. I wonder if she started out with the intention to give each king and queen an animal and just ran out of time, or why the queen and king of wands have their own little
No,
familiars, for lack of a better word, when none of the
Yeah,
others do.
there's birds in the swords, but they're so far away they don't really play in like they do in the wands cards. I agree with that. And and I
yeah,
guess in the cups you have the fish and the page of cups, but otherwise they're
true. Yeah,
depicted in the artwork, but there's not really, for the lack of a better term, living and breathing there. You know what I'm saying?
that's
Yeah.
There's jumping fish in the background with the King of Cups.
do you think it's sort of suggesting that he doesn't just rule people, but he rules the whole kingdom, animals and all? You
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, because he has the lizards and the lions on his
Yes, he
throne.
does. Lizards, salamanders, however you want to look at those things. That, or maybe it's saying he's a cold-blooded creature. You know, he needs the sun to keep him warm.
Oh, actually, that's not such a bad point. I mean, I know you're being funny, but that could be very true. Of all the kings, I think he's the most in the present.
Yes, I agree with that. And not so focused on himself. He doesn't feel focused on himself. He feels focused elsewhere. You know, I don't see him looking in
yeah,
the mirror
kind of,
24/7.
I'm just thinking of the others as well. I mean, the King of Pentacles is just very like settled, isn't he?
Yes.
And the King of Swords, it's all in his head. Um, King of Cups is kind of bobbing up and down on his own little, bit of his own raft or whatever. And I
Hmm.
think, I think this one is proactive and he's a man of the people and a man of all things living. Really, he's just yeah. Yeah, he's very full on.
Hmm.
Very full on.
Hmm.
And I keep,
Uh, he'd be quite hard to keep up with.
we should damn sure try, eh?
No, I think it would be kind of like take him on if you dare. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's very impressive, but I think unless you were kind of like close to his sort of wavelength, he would just eat you alive, wouldn't he? Really?
Hmm. Yeah, he's very much of an action hero. You know, he's your fireman.
Yeah.
He's the one who's going to run in and save the day and not even think about it.
Yeah, and even his crown looks like it's made of flames, not
Hmm.
like molded into
Yeah.
flames. And
Hmm.
then he's got this great big 70s bar hopper necklace on. I think it's a
Yes.
cat. I think it's a cat. I
Yeah, I
zoomed
tried
in
zooming
on
in
it.
on it, and it didn't really define like the Queen of Wands did for me. But yeah, it probably is sticking with the motif, right?
Yeah. That's certainly not a lizard.
No, no.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Okay, I can't say that thought.
What?
My brain is in the gutter today, y'all. I'm just seeing this is somebody completely ruled by his lizard, his testosterone, his the
Reptilian brain.
yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I was just thinking from an actress point of view, like, having sort of like done a lot of auditions, which I think are horrible things. But like sometimes you walk into the audition and they're all sitting there like the panel, that are there to kind of like judge you.
Yeah.
And and you just kind of like have to just come, and do your piece that you've prepared as well as you possibly can. And I just know that his presence would just kind of be really in my face. I just kind of like even if he wasn't moving or jumping up and down doing anything, you'd be very aware of him. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Even if all of the four kings were all sitting there watching you, which would be quite an intimidating sort of lineup, but he would be
Hmm.
the one that would kind of like that you would feel the most, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with you there. He is very powerful presence.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. Could it be a woman?
Oh
Sure.
yes. Yes.
Absolutely. What
With
would he?
those same characteristics, you
Yeah.
know?
To some extent, I think he's the opposite. Well, yeah, he would be, wouldn't he? I was just thinking about it astrologically. The opposite of the King of Swords. Like, even though they are both of the masculine kind of like elements, because I see him as very hot and the King of Swords is very cold. But if you think about it, I think he is very Leo and the King of Swords is very Aquarius. So they are the two opposites, aren't they? Kind of
Hmm.
sign wise.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's like the King of Swords you could see is somewhat detached. There's nothing
Yes.
detached about
No,
this
no, no,
king.
no. No.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he's full on in the moment, ready to spring into action.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, what about a reversal?
Oh, to me, that's like the consummate asshole.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my gosh, abusive,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, hothead to the extreme. I mean, hothead doesn't even begin to approach just the kind of person who would start a bar fight just to start a bar fight, you know?
Arrogant beyond belief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nasty. Yeah.
Hmm. And the world would be all about him.
Oh, definitely.
Him, his needs, nobody else.
Yeah.
Wouldn't care.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I
would
would
kick
not.
puppies.
Yeah, he would, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Yeah. I don't
on,
like him just for that.
on the other hand, it could just be someone whose light has gone out and who's just really kind of lacking in any energy, who's
Yeah.
like a balloon that is just deflating sort of by the second,
Yes.
like seriously, like cannot move.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could go the other way.
Yeah. This could be an absolute coward.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes.
what kind of situation could that be? Upright, upright. Or in reverse. Just
Well,
specify.
it could be a sporting event or
Hmm.
the Olympics. It's big,
Hmm.
Ooh.
it's grand scale. It's as big as it gets.
Hmm. It could be a coup.
Uh-huh.
Like what
Yes.
we had one in no, that would date us, but I think there was one in the Sudan just yesterday.
A coup?
I mean, it
Yes.
could actually be this. This is a bit nasty, but it could be like one of those where you get those big forest fire things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, when you said that, yeah, I could actually see him as a forest fire.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, he could even be an arsonist in the reverse.
Sure.
Now we
Um,
have an arsonist card.
Right.
I needed one of those.
oh my god!
We have an arsonist. We can make him a poacher. He's out there killing the animals, uh, collecting them for shoe leather or something like that. I don't know. He'd have to
Oh,
collect a lot and
damn.
stitch them
It,
together. But
it could be bonfire night. Guy Fawkes over
sure,
here, 5th
sure.
of November.
Hmm.
So that could totally be that event.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Anybody have anything to add about him? Just off the, I mean, because like I said earlier with the Queen, we're saying what we see right now, and at different times we do see different things, different
Hmm.
images pop out into our brains and elicit a different reaction. But are you getting anything else right now?
It could be kind of like the chief fireman, firefighter, but like high up.
Oh yeah.
in the brave sense of the word.
Hmm.
But generally speaking, if I'm honest, if they come up in an upright position, depends on the question always and the card position and that. But mostly, I'm quite positive. I feel quite good to see either the king or the queen of wands coming up upright. I'm mostly likely to go in a positive direction.
Yeah, I'm generally pretty positive with most of the suit cards upright
Yes,
because, they wouldn't have gotten to their position if they weren't
yeah,
doing something right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
But I
he
do think it's important for people to realize that they're not necessarily representing a person.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
they could be. They could be, but you have to kind of think about the question, and,
Hmm.
and you have to put it into context to know whether it is a person or an event or just a kind of a flavor or an energy, because it's all of those things.
Hmm.
Or even like, if he comes up in a fear position, you cannot always say, well, you're afraid of your boss, you're afraid of your daddy, you're afraid of your big brother.
Oh,
It just
yeah,
doesn't work.
no,
Um, he could be afraid to take action,
yes,
or he could even be afraid of all the passion that he feels inside of
Hmm.
himself.
yes, yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah.
there's so much more than you can just get out of looking at a page in a book and saying,
Hmm.
okay, this is everything he is, because he's so much more than that.
Absolutely. And he's a king. This is not what I'm saying is he's developed into this. There's a history that kind of like goes with him in order for him to be the king of this, whatever it may be. It's not
Hmm.
just a new thing or a new experiment or some new, it's not a page. It's not just something that's just arrived. This is something that's kind of been through whatever in order to have that label put on him.
Good
Hmm.
point. Yes, absolutely. Good point. That's a wealth of experience there.
Yeah, he's at the top end. So he's not just kind of like suddenly out of nowhere, arrived there. He's arrived there because of everything that's happened before that's led
Yes.
to it.
Very nicely said.
Thank you, Sharon. You are the king of wands yourself.
Me, I'm the Page of Cups. I swear I'm the Page of Cups. That's who I want to be. Um,
I know. I always think of you when that one comes up.
my favorite card in the deck. I love that. That's who I want to be.
Is Dusty the king of wands?
I believe he is.
Yes, I think so.
So, anything else to add before we skedaddle?
Nope. I'm
No, not for me.
All right. I want to thank y'all for being here. I really, really enjoy doing these card meetings with y'all. It is so much fun. And I hope that our listeners are having fun right along with us. And
Yep.
if you're sitting there screaming at the computer screen saying, "What about this? What about this?" Please feel free to share it with us in the comments. We
Oh,
want to
definitely.
hear your thoughts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And thank y'all. I had a great time. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.